It begins with a single word, one nobody expected, one that felt too strange to be real. A word whispered in dugouts, shouted in stadiums, and suddenly thrown across social media like a spark landing in dry grass. Ohtanic. At first, people didn't know what they were hearing. A new trend, a joke, a glitch in translation. But the more you listened, the more it felt like something bigger, something that wasn't just a word, but a moment. Some say it started after a swing so perfect it looked almost unreal. Others claim it was born the day Shohei Ohtani did something that made even seasoned commentators lose their breath on live TV. No matter how the story began, one thing is certain, the world was searching for a word powerful enough to describe a phenomenon. And when none existed, they made one. The first time the cameras captured him stepping into the box that night, the stadium felt unnaturally quiet. Not just silent, expectant. As if thousands of people were holding their breath, waiting for something miraculous or catastrophic. You could feel the electricity. Light, fast, dangerous. Then the pitch came. And what followed didn't seem physically possible. The ball didn't just leave the bat. It disappeared. A blur. A sound. A shockwave. Fans didn't scream. Not immediately. They gasped, like they had witnessed something unnatural, something beyond the boundary of sport. And somewhere in that stunned silence, a voice from the booth cracked through the static. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ohtanic. Nobody knew what it meant. But everyone understood. Because sometimes language fails. Sometimes greatness stretches too far, too violently, too beautifully for the human vocabulary to keep up. And when that happens, new words are born. Ohtanic didn't just describe a moment. It captured a force that didn't break rules. It rewrote them. From that night on, every time Ohtani did something breathtaking, the word echoed again. Not officially, not formally, but organically, emotionally, like the way a crowd instinctively rises before a home run reaches its peak. Even rival players started using it. Not mockingly, with respect. Because how else do you label a two-way superstar who plays the game as though he slipped through a glitch in the universe? And soon, the term spread, through highlight reels, sports bars, morning radio shows, and late-night hosts who couldn't resist the rhythm of the word. It was catchy. It was strange. It was perfect. The fans turned it into memes. Kids scribbled it on homemade posters. Reporters slipped it into headlines with a grin, knowing it would spark comments from every corner of the internet. But the true meaning didn't come from the word itself. It came from the energy surrounding it, the collective awe of millions witnessing a player who made them believe in something extraordinary. A player who made baseball feel new again. People began defining Ohtanic in their own way. Some said it meant, so incredible it feels impossible. Others claimed it meant, a moment of pure, unstoppable brilliance. A few described it as, a shock you feel in your chest when Ohtani does something that makes you stare at the screen in disbelief. No dictionary agreed, but every definition rang true. Because, Ohtanic wasn't a technical term. It was an emotional one. And emotional words rarely follow rules. As the season continued, moments piled up, towering home runs, impossible angles, inhuman bat speed, and pitchers shaking their heads because they had no idea where to throw anymore. Every clip felt like a movie trailer. Every game felt like a climax. And each time, somewhere in the world, someone whispered it again. That's Ohtanic. Slowly, quietly, the word became more than slang. It became a symbol of an athlete pushing beyond every limitation that history had quietly agreed upon. A symbol of a generation witnessing greatness with their own eyes. A symbol of how language evolves when humans run out of words to describe awe. People debated where the term came from. Some argued it referenced Titanic levels of power. Others said it combined Ohtani with mechanic, as if he were a finely engineered machine. A few insisted it simply sounded cool. But none of those explanations matter. Because the word didn't rise because of logic. It rose because of emotion. And emotion spreads faster than fact. By mid-season, commentators were using it deliberately. Crowds shouted it in unison. Children learned it the same way they learned the name of their favorite superhero. Soon, Ohtanic wasn't just describing Ohtani. It became a measurement, a scale of shock. A towering homer from another player. Almost Ohtanic. A 500-foot blast from someone else. Borderline Ohtanic. But when Ohtani himself stepped to the plate, there was no scale, no comparison, only anticipation. That's when the world realized the term wasn't a label. It was a threshold of awe, of power, of wonder. And Ohtani crossed it so often that people forgot it even existed. One night, an elderly fan in Japan was interviewed on live TV. He smiled gently and said, "In my lifetime, I've seen legends. But Ohtani is the first one who needed a brand new word." The clip went viral instantly. Because that was it. That was the truth everyone had been trying to articulate. A truth that felt too big for grammar and too emotional for analysis. A truth wrapped inside a single, strange, unforgettable word. Ohtanic. In the end, the word isn't about baseball. Not really. It's about what happens when a player reminds the world that magic still exists in sports. Magic that cannot be explained, cannot be measured, cannot be downgraded into statistics. Magic that demands a new language. So the next time Ohtani launches a ball into the stratosphere, the next time he swings with the kind of violent grace that splits open the sky, the next time the stadium rises before the ball even lands, you'll hear it again, soft at first, then louder, then roaring like a wave breaking across oceans. Ohtanic. A word born from wonder. A word carried by millions. A word that exists because one athlete refuses to fit inside the boundaries of what the world thinks is possible. And that is the legacy of Shohei Ohtani. Not just breaking records, not just redefining baseball, but inspiring a brand new name for greatness. A name strong enough, wild enough, emotional enough to hold the weight of his brilliance. A name the world will remember long after the echoes of the stadium fade. Ohtanic. And somehow, it still feels too small.